What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. MLB. So, first game is the Toronto Blue Jays versus Seattle Mariners. So, the Mariners have a 59.9% chance to win, and the Blue Jays have a 44.1% chance to win. This is at Toronto. And for our pitchers, Castillo for the Mariners has an ERA of 4.22 and a whip of 1.41. And Lucas for the Blue Jays has an ERA of 4.7 and a whip of 1.11. So pitching is pretty close between the two based on, basic numbers. Pitching's pretty close, so I think with home field advantage, I think the Blue Jays beat the Mariners tomorrow. Next up, Chicago Cubs versus Arizona Diamondbacks. So Diamondbacks have a 40.1% chance to win, and the Cubs have a 59.9% chance to win. So this is at Chicago, and for our pitchers, Kelly for the Diamondbacks has an ERA of 5.57 and a WHIP of 1.33, and and Palin for the Cubs has an ERA of 5.4 and a WHIP of 1.2. So ERA is not great for either one. So pitching, so this could be a hitter's game. So I think with home field advantage, I think the Cubs beat the Diamondbacks tomorrow. See, then the Texas Rangers versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. So this is gonna be a good game probably. So Dodgers have a 56.6% chance to win, and the Rangers have a 43.4% chance to win. So for pitching, Glasnow for the Dodgers has an ERA of 4.85 and a WHIP of 1.23, and Maul for the Rangers has an ERA of .92 and the WHIP of .86. So there is a significant pitching advantage for the Rangers, like just with basic numbers. And Maul has pitched more innings than Glasnow does and has more wins. So there is a definite pitching advantage right now for the Rangers, and there will be home field advantage tomorrow. And even though the Dodgers are a very good team, like they are very good, one of the best rosters in the league, I think the Texas Rangers beat the Los Angeles Dodgers tomorrow. All right, San Francisco Giants versus Los Angeles Angels. So the Giants have a 40.6% chance to win, and the Angels have a 59.4% chance to win. For our pitchers, Verlander has an ERA of 6.75 and a WHIP of 1.77. Yeah, that ERA, that's not classic Verlander. That ain't old school Verlander. I mean, it's also early in the season, so who knows. Then Kikuchi for the Angels has an ERA of 4.13 and a WHIP of 1.17. So pitching right now, pitching is in the favor of the Angels. Now, neither one has an ERA that a lot of teams would like their pitchers to have, especially when it comes to the Giants. But Kikuchi, numbers wise, is playing has better stats than Verlander. I haven't been able to watch all the games, so yeah, I know how Verlander like in his prime was. But that was in his prime. He's been in the league for a while. But Kikuchi seems to be playing better right now, and this is at LA, so home field advantage will favor the Angels. So with the pitching advantage and the home field advantage, I think the Angels beat the Giants tomorrow. NBA playoffs round one. So each of the games tomorrow, they're all game one in their respective series. So first up, Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Memphis Grizzlies. So in this game, the OKC has a 79.3% chance to win, and Memphis has a 20.7% chance to win. Yeah, that's a big difference. But I mean, first round, that's probably more expected. And as far as like all the players go, I mean, this could be a good game. You have John Morant for the Grizzlies. All that, like, this could be a pretty good series, I think, with all the players. Like, this could be pretty good. And you know, but with this being at OKC, like this game, the Thunder, I think the Thunder's beating the Grizzlies tomorrow. I think that's gonna happen. All right, Boston Celtics versus the Orlando Magic. So Celtics have a 78.1% chance to win, and the Magic has a 21.9% chance to win. So Boston's favored. They generally had one of the best rosters in the league for the past few years. You know, they've been a contender for like for the past few years. They've almost always been a contender. The Magic, not so much. And so, obviously the Celtics are favored, you know, as they should be. And this is at Boston. So, that's gonna be a tough place to play for Orlando. I think I think Boston wins game 1 tomorrow. Let's see. Cleveland Cavaliers versus Miami Heat. So, two former teams that LeBron James won championships for. So this is at Cleveland. And, Eric Spoelstra is coaching the Heat. That will help the Heat. Like that's because Spoelstra is a very good coach. Like man, give him a good roster. Like he would win multiple championships. Like if the front office could do better at drafting. Anyway, but the Cavs, you know the Cavs are a top seed for the East. Not something you see a lot, especially with LeBron not being there. And Donovan Mitchell's played well for them. The Cavs have an 82.9% chance to win tomorrow, and the Heat have a 17.1% chance. So this is an interesting game. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily going to be an upset. I think the Cavs are winning tomorrow, especially with it being in Cleveland. If it was at Miami, then it would be very interesting. But since it's at Cleveland, I think the Cavs win tomorrow. All right, Houston Rockets versus Golden State Warriors. So the Rockets have a 58.1% chance to win, and the Warriors have a 41.9% chance to win. So, this could be like one of the closer games in the playoffs. The Warriors having, their roster with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney, all that. And, basically like, Rockets, we know their history with the Warriors, you know, with the with the basically in the Western Conference playoffs in previous years where the Warriors have beaten like good Rockets teams when they had James Harden. Yeah, so that was a whole mess. But you have Van Vliet, Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Amon Thompson. Like they are a good team. Like and the Warriors are a good team. Like this is at Houston, so home field advantage will play a role here. Now, could there still be a lot of Golden State fans at the game? Yes, because you have a lot of bandwagon fans who are like, "Oh, yay, Steph Curry, yay, Draymond." I mean, it's probably not gonna be as big as it was back in that team, back when the Warriors had like all those big runs. But there's still gonna be some bandwagon fans, so there's probably gonna be a lot of Warriors fans at the game. So home field advantage, I don't know if it'll be as big as it normally would be, but I think it'll still play a big role for the Rockets, and I think they will beat the Warriors in game one tomorrow. College baseball. So, first game, North Carolina versus Virginia Tech. So, this series is even right now. North Carolina won game one, Virginia Tech won game two. So, tomorrow's game will determine who wins the series. This is at Virginia Tech, so maybe that could play a role, but North Carolina, being ranked number 12, they're obviously a very good team. And it's not like Virginia Tech's bad. Virginia Tech's a good team too. They could maybe have a chance to make the tournament, with their record. But, I think tomorrow North Carolina takes care of business and wins the series tomorrow. All right, Georgia Tech, Miami. So Tech, despite being ranked 14 in the nation, lost the series to Miami. It was at Miami. Miami, very big baseball school. They're unranked. They're not ranked, which is rare for Miami. But it's a big baseball area. Like, oh, well, Atlanta, well, baseball. Like, of course you have the Braves, but the Braves don't play technically in Atlanta. They play in Smyrna, and, and basically like in Fulton County where Atlanta is at, that is a big baseball area, and like and Smyrna is in Cobb County, which is also a big baseball area. Like Cobb and Fulton are your big baseball areas in Georgia. So near Tech, you do have some big baseball, but a lot of UGA is like the more well. A lot of them are going to go UGA or go pro, but so Miami has like the big local, probably one of the better local markets for baseball, like in the nation. Like I mean, it's just a fact. Like Miami has one of the best like in town local talent that like goes to school there. At least amongst the ones that don't go pro. And so Miami has a they still have a good team. They won the series against Tech, which shouldn't be that surprising. Yes, Tech's ranked, but it's Miami. Miami baseball is big. So them winning the series is not surprising. So tomorrow, Tech will try salvage a win so they don't get swept because getting swept is pretty embarrassing. I think Tech does get a win tomorrow in Game 3 to avoid a sweep. Then next game, Oregon versus UCLA. So this series is tied with Oregon winning game one and UCLA winning game two. So tomorrow we'll decide who wins the series, and that could be the biggest game of the day tomorrow because that's the only ranked versus ranked matchup. Determines who wins the series. Like it is the game tomorrow. And with it being at Oregon, home field advantage could play a role. But UCLA is a very good baseball team. Like they're one of the perennial contenders. And both are top 25. UCLA is 10, Oregon 16. I think Oregon gets the win tomorrow to win the series. Let's see, Tennessee versus Kentucky. So this series is also tied with Tennessee winning game one and Kentucky winning game two. So Sunday we'll also have a series winning like game. So it's not like a meaningless game. This game actually means something during who wins the series. And it's like pretty early on. It's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, this could be a pretty big game. I mean, Tennessee's 33-6, number 4 in the nation right now. Kentucky's 21-15, unranked. So, it could get interesting, but I think that Tennessee wins the series tomorrow to clinch the series victory. All right, Mississippi State, Florida. So Florida won game one, and like at the time of recording this, it is tied 2-2, top of the fourth. So if Mississippi State wins, that'll tie the series at 1-1, and but if Florida wins, they'll clinch the series. So we'll either have Mississippi State trying to avoid a sweep tomorrow, or we'll see like the two, like Florida and Mississippi State, trying to see who wins the series tomorrow. One to two options. So with it being at Starkville, I'm sure Mississippi State fans would be pissed at having to play to avoid the sweep. Like I'm sure they're thrilled that that happened in Duty Noble. Yeah. But no, I think regardless of what happens, whether or not it's Florida winning tonight and clinching the series, or Mississippi State winning and tying the series, I think Mississippi State gets the victory tomorrow to either avoid a sweep or to win the series, one to two. I think the Bulldogs beat the Gators tomorrow. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.